So this will be my portion of the panel where I'll basically be adding on to what my group is saying, and I'll just give you some of what I didn't get the chance to say, and basically just add on to what they're saying, basically for the most part. So let's begin.
How we have been affected over the past few months. While each conducting interviews, we all discussed similar topics including social media, coronavirus, the election, ways we increased our happiness, and how to maintain a positive mindset. The importance of happiness includes finding ourselves and what we are passionate about so we can become the best version of ourselves. And we all have our own topics that we want to talk about from our own discussions. And my interview, I talked about escapism through art, nature, reading, movies, and just like things that keep a person productive throughout quarantine. Like, I don't know, I went outside a lot, and the person I interviewed, her name was Lauren. We both talked about how nature helped us through keeping ourselves productive. What about you guys? What did you guys talk about?
So in my interview, a lot of the questions were like discussion based around what you can do to be happy, especially during being locked down. And that might not be the happiest of times because you're limiting social interaction, especially everything that's happening with the COVID-19, the election, because we know a lot of people are upset about the election results, and like racial equality and the entirety of the race movement going on right now. Seeing some of the stuff that could be happening could be disturbing or saddening. It's like stuff. It's just sad. So it's like trying to find a way to be happy during times like this. It's like one of the key things we really focused on.
So connecting to what Mia said, I didn't really talk about art in my interview, but I interviewed my dad who used music a lot to get him through, this difficult time because everybody copes with, all of these different and new emotions that we're experiencing in different ways. So we talked about music a lot and how, he's able to take something he loves, which is music, and like do new things with it where like in his everyday life he wouldn't be able to do those things just because he wouldn't have time. He would, be working, taking care of my family. So he's like he said that, even though like being in quarantine is extremely difficult, like one thing that he was able to do was, experiment with what he loves to do, which is music.
That's good. I know in my interview, we actually talked a little bit about that too, and how we were surprised that like not a lot of new music has come out these past like months. I feel like a lot of creativity would spark for a lot of artists, but yeah, it's good.
I don't know about you guys, but I also feel like since March, like looking back in March, I feel like my taste in music has like completely changed. Not changed, but like
A lot different.
Yeah, it's like a lot different than it was like
Broader now.
Yeah.
I just want to pause right there because I definitely would have to agree with her because since we've just been at home, a lot of our free time has just been listening to music. Whenever we have like an assignment to do, basically, the first thing we do is turn on music. And we have so much free time that we're just exploring different types of genre of music. Like I know I've gotten to Afro music like a lot more just over the past like few months, basically, when we had the quarantine, basically, because I still at school, but at the same time I still wanted to like broaden my taste of music, and I started getting into jazz more, which really I never thought I would personally be into jazz, but I learned that I am into jazz for the most part now.
I definitely am listening to new music too, new artists that I never thought I would before. So
Because you have a lot of time. What are you gonna do? You listen like a friend or family member suggests something,
Definitely.
you're like, wow, I really like this song, so you just get into an entire new genre
Right.
that way. That kind of was happening with me, and stuff like. I didn't really ever like Pop Smoke or until a friend introduced me to him. Like, it's Pop Smoke. I was like, Pop Smoke sucks. Or that's when it's Pop Smoke. Start listening to Juice WRLD. I was like, wow, I kind of like this songs.
Yeah, that was me, but with Harry Styles. Like, I never thought I would like actually like his like solo Harry Styles. Like,
I feel like I was reluctant towards him as a solo artist.
yeah.
Yeah, actually. One thing, so like change the topic. One thing that like in my interview that we focused a lot on actually is like the education system and like schooling and how it's changed and everything and how like that has an impact on our well-being, like pretty much everything, like online school, being in school, the education system like as a whole. So like I don't know if you guys have like opinions on that.
Yeah, that is, I think that is a good topic to talk about, especially with happiness, because I know, like, school right now is hard for a lot of people, so, like, that's, one thing that, schools, like, I feel like this school's kind of trying to help us out, too, like, they've been pretty easy and, like, understanding for us as students, which I think, a lot of schools need, and, like, what the students need. But I think the most important are like the younger grades, like kids in elementary school. I can't imagine like how they're coping through that because they like to go to school to see their friends, and like not only that, but they also that's when they enjoy school a lot. So.
Real quick, I just want to say though, like, I definitely agree because for younger students, when they're that young, they're still learning primary skills like multiplication, reading comprehension. Like, these are skills that they need to learn when they're younger so that it helps them on later on when they get to middle school, high school, and further into their life. Because right now, I know a lot of students that are younger aren't necessarily learning. They're just doing the work to continue to go to the next grade, which is a problem though, because a lot of it is just relying on the parents to do most of the education, and a lot of times the parents are busy in their own personal life trying to figure out how they're going to feed their families in Philadelphia. At least that's where I'm from, like trying to figure out what they're going to do for their family or having a job, or it's just a lot of stress outside of school that's like 2 times as much as it was before. So now it's really a struggle for them to focus in school. And I know that the whole like Chromebooks thing, that my school just was doing it like 2 years before this all happened. So luckily we had laptops. But I know the city of Philadelphia had to buy a bunch of Chromebooks, which cost them a lot of money. And I feel as though it's going to be a challenge for them, for the most part, honestly, trying to get adjusted to the whole using laptops for learning and doing these online databases for, reaching out to online databases to figure out how they can actually teach the students and teachers the proper way for them to learn. That's going to be the real challenge in the upcoming years to come. That's what I believe, at least.
To add on to that, like the adjustment and the transition period, like getting into that is like it's difficult. Like I went to school in the city of Philadelphia, and in Philadelphia there's a lot of poor families.
Exactly.
And not everyone has access to the technology needed for online education. So like the city of Philadelphia made it unconstitutional to switch to online learning until everyone was provided with computers. So like my school had to go through and give out computers, but we left like early March, but we didn't actually start learning again until the start of May. So they just gave us the rest of the third term. And I mean, I guess I could say I'm lucky for that.
That's 3 months.
But like, assuming that people have resources for online learning, like being college students is a little different. You probably already have to take loans out as it is. So I mean, getting a computer is just another loan, which is sad to look at that way. But like, assuming that these families have access to technology and understand the technology enough to use it to have their kids learn online, it's a huge adjustment. And like you said, I absolutely agree that Westchester is doing doing a phenomenal job with how everything is going.
It's definitely a lot
If
of
you need
technology
help,
support
you
they're
can always
giving
still
us,
talk to your teachers. They'll help
which
you.
I wasn't expecting.
Planning the meeting with your advisor is extremely easy. They'll help you. They'll get back to you with information. But like the entire adjustment from being in class, sitting in class for a few hours and taking notes and opposed to going online is way different. Like you have so many more distractions now, and the difficulty level could be higher because you might not remember something because you may have lost focus in class or like something along those lines, you know?
Yeah. And they also say in like statistics and everything, it's harder to actually learn on a computer with all the distractions. And also in the one reading, because I know she wants us to refer a reading from class and becoming a learner. Like I think that reading was really helpful because it was teaching us that like it's not just about getting the deadline. I mean, getting the assignment in by the deadline, but about actually being interested in a subject. And I think that's a little bit difficult with this online, but of course, like I said, Westchester's doing.
I feel like another thing is when we're on laptops, I feel like so a lot more of this is becoming multitasking, which based off of the readings that we had and what we had to learn about, that people cannot multitask because it shows that we basically just split up what we're paying attention to, but we don't really complete a lot of work at all, which only hurts us in the long run basically. And that's a real major problem with using laptops because I know that I personally get distracted and then I will like try to multitask. Like I'm paying attention to class, but I'm also like trying to listen to music in the background, but like that's not gonna work out well for me. So I just gotta figure out like focus on one thing at a time. I can't multitask because that's not gonna work out well for me and my education basically.
Their best as they can, like technology, and I don't know. I think it's just like an understanding of the students and the teachers together. So it's more of like we're all in this together, you know. It's like we're not the only ones, and I think that's the way to think about the positive side about things. So.
Yeah, it's like when I think about online learning, it's just I never really realized how much like, you know, the small things like, you know, waking up for school, getting ready, like going to school, like how I guess like important it was to like, you know, go outside and like go like travel to somewhere to be somewhere and what, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it's so much easier to do that, and you know, like being like especially for all of us, like other schools went like they still went to college, you know what I mean? Like they're living in the dorm, they have some buildings open, like some people even had in-person classes, which is absolutely insane.
I can say though that I am living on campus right now. I'm in my my South Campus apartment, and I have been going to the library, which is still one of the facilities that is still open. But we don't have in-person classes. At least I don't, because I know they do offer some hybrid classes that's in person for like I want to say for like pre-med, I believe, because they do need to do certain things that's in person that can't be taught over the computer, like working with patients that has to be in person. You can't get real world experience from doing things on the computer because that's not the field that they're going into. So basically, that's all I just want to say real quick.
But you know, like they're even if it's not 100%, they're semi-living their college life. Like for us, I don't know about you guys, but like I'm not on campus, so like I feel like it's like harder. It's harder to, you know, like force yourself to wake up, force yourself to, you know, get ready and like focus on your schoolwork, because technically, I mean, I could be sitting in my bed all day and never step a foot outside.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's like harder to like, we don't remember to do those things because we've never had to, because we would always, you know, we would go to school and then we would all, you know, we'd go to our sports, we'd go to our extracurriculars, we'd go to our clubs, you know what I mean? We'd be doing things. And like, I just feel like it's so much harder now that everything's online to feel motivated and to feel, you know, like you're learning.
Yeah, for sure. With the routine and everything, since it's new to all of us.
Yeah, like my routine right now is I have a class at 8. I wake up at 7:54 and turn on my computer and join the Zoom call. Like, I mean, we're all freshmen actually. So like we never had the experience being on campus, having to wake up at 7 a.m. for an 8 a.m. class, and then having to go halfway across the campus for first year experience. And being in a room with probably 200 kids, I'm gonna guess, but it's like the adjustment there's a big emphasis on it.
I will say though, personally, I do have some form of like experience basically, because all my life, like from first grade, even to 12th grade, I've gone to a boarding school. So I've lived on a campus where I had to wake up around 7, and then I had class at like 8 o'clock, and so I'll be busy getting dressed, put my uniform on, going to the cafeteria, grab my book bag, make sure my bed was all right, and then going up to school. And then when I got to high school, then I started like playing sports and baseball, sports like baseball, and I also had to work in the morning too. So I would even get up a little bit early, like around 5 or 6, go to work, and then all that time I'll be just working until class actually started. And after class, I go right back to work, and then after work for a little bit, I go to baseball. So and also did Boy Scouts too. So I was always busy. So being on the routine is not as hard for me, but it's still a challenge because like the world sees me as an adult now that I am in college. So all the responsibility lies on me solely for me to do what I need to do. Because technically, well, I am 20, so I am an adult. So I do have to do what I need to do at this point in life. So I have to take more responsibility for things in life. So this is adjustments for all of us. And just means we just got to bear more of a larger weight on our backs, basically, which will only help us in the long run for when we are outside of college. Because we have to remember, this is a real world, but this part can be a little bit more forgiving than when we step foot outside of the campus, for the most part. At least that's how I believe.
This year, because of everything that's going on, it's
And the fact that it's all like most of it's independent. Like when most of my classes, like we meet once a week, and if we were in person, it would have actually
I
been
only have
2
one
or
class
3
where I
times
meet once a week for my writing
So,
class.
I always think about like, what if this wasn't a thing, and like we were all in person, like how different that would be, and like the amount of times during advising season where I'd say to myself like, oh, I wish we were in person and this wasn't a thing, so I could go to my advisor and like be face to face with her and ask her the questions that are all in my head
Yeah,
instead of typing out an email and having to wait because she has 1,000 emails. So
I will.
it's just the whole chain reaction of everything.
I will say though that our advisors have been getting back to us pretty fast, such as the professors too. Like, you would think that just because they're so busy doesn't mean like when we get to hear. I was always taught that your professors aren't going to care about you or they're going to be busy. Like, no, that's not true. All my professors care. They show that they care. They're lenient. They want to make sure that you do good in school too. It's not just about like they understand that they had their masters, their professor, everything else is on you. No, they want to help you succeed in life, and that's the best part about being here at Westchester. At least that's how I feel personally. I can't speak for them. That's how I feel. That's why I'm glad I made my decision here at Westchester.
Everything, and it makes it difficult.
But slowly like everything's transitioning to like us being online and everything. Like, even when we were in school, like I don't know how like about your guys' school, but like I do a lot of stuff online.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's only gonna be more because technology is advancing every day. So it's only gonna get more. So
Personally,
I feel
I prefer like I'm not that much into technology when it comes to like writing paper. I prefer to write my hand notes out. I always use a notebook. I'm always writing. For the most part,
Yeah,
I don't really use
like going off
technology.
of that, like
but I
how they're saying it's
had to use
the
it
new,
more.
like they're saying the new normal. Like, what do you think about that? Like, do you think this is the new normal?
I don't know.
That's really
Like,
hard to say.
That
though.
was also like I ended up switching my major. I came into Westchester as a history major to like pair with education, and I ended up switching undecided. And one of the reasons why is just because I started thinking like if teaching permanently goes online, like I don't want to do that. I wanted to be a teacher so I could be in a classroom and go to
Right.
teach students like in person. And like that's not like the only reason why I switched. There's a bunch of other reasons too, but like that was one of them, and I was like,
That's a
that
valid
would be
reason though,
crazy if
because you go into a career for a certain thing, you don't want to change it. You don't want to be in there if it's changing and it's not a career that you
The
can see
mass
yourself
learning
in.
online that's happening now shows that it can be done. I don't know how efficiently it can be done because people get distracted easily, but it shows that online learning is viable. But hopefully, with one of the coronavirus vaccines coming out, we're able to get like people in person again. I know a lot of schools, like my old high school, they were pushing to get back in person by January, but that's not happening anymore because Philadelphia put down like a lockdown order.
Yeah, my school, personally, Girard College, we were planning on coming back, I believe, after spring break, I want to say. After our spring break was when the seniors had to do not orientation. We had to do, not an apprenticeship, but we had to, internships, sorry about that. We had to do internships, and I did mine at the school. So, like, right after I did my internship, we literally went into quarantine. So I was basically just finishing up everything from home, like typing papers, my whole research paper basically, and still finishing up my exit survey from my internship. So it's really a big shift when Philadelphia said, yeah, we're stopping everything and we're going all online, we're going home. That was kind of hard for a lot of us to deal with. At least that's how I saw it from people's point of view, like, because I knew personally that they needed to learn in school. They couldn't learn outside of school.
Closing everything down. But
Yeah, the corona rates are rising even more now, so I know it's really bad right now.
there's like 140,000 cases a day.
Yeah, Delaware just shut
Yeah.
down, I believe.
No.
I'd love to see. I guess like the overall theme of this on like how to stay happy with the online learning is just take it day by day. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I've been doing. Just take it day by day and
Yeah.
I don't know, push through it.
Yeah, it's challenging. You know, it's just very like unmotivational, and so like I feel just like I have to do other things to like, you know, motivate me to like wake up, you know, do like have a productive day. Like
Yeah.
that, I like tell myself like I want like when it's nice out. Obviously, I try to go outside at least like once a day
Yeah.
before it's like starting to get like really cold to the point where like we can't go outside. Like, you know, at least we go out, like you walk outside to go to school. Like I don't know about you guys, but like if it was nice, we'd have to go outside for gym, and like that was a pain in the ass when like we were there. But like I don't know, we never thought twice about it, and now like there will literally be days where I don't like step a foot outside, and like I don't know, not good. So
Yeah.
And it's like when we were in school in person, we were like, I just wish their school was canceled or we go home. And just like
Snow days.
now that we don't have school, it's just like you know, I wish I was in person again. Like I wish I was in EP Chem getting my ass kicked because I don't know what the hell's going on. Like I wish I was in gym running a mile. Like I don't know. Like I miss all that stuff. I miss seeing people. I miss having like face-to-face interaction. The only interaction I have is with my family, with my girlfriend when she comes over. It's like I miss hanging out with friends.
yeah.
Being able to talk to people.
Are a lot of your friends at college, like all of like your guys, are they like at college?
I would say about half
Yeah,
is for me. Like, I have
my
friends.
are like my high school
Oh, wait.
friends.
Yeah.
I'd say about half for me because I've made friends here at Westchester when I came here because such a small community that's actually here on campus. And I also have friends like from school as well and personal life, so I still like keep in touch with them, especially people from my school that I graduated with. Like we have a group chat where we talk basically almost like every other day, basically, just like to check on each other, like see how we're doing with the whole like school thing and let each other know about scholarships and just looking out for each other basically, because it's a tough time for everyone. So just looking out for each other is the best thing we can do.
Most of them, I mean, some of them, they chose their route to go to community college just because they thought like, oh, it's cheaper and like,
Yeah.
you know, it's not worth going to the big campus when it's just gonna be online. But most of them, yeah, are on campus, and like I'll see them like on Snapchat or something, and I'm like, wow, they get to go and do that. But I mean, I think Westchester made a smart decision though, of like not having us on campus. I guess like in the long run, I guess it's worth it.
Mm-hmm.
No, but yeah, same. Most of my friends are at college, and some of them, a good portion of them went like down south. So like one of my best friends, she's at University of Florida, and it's like Corona doesn't even exist there, and it's like just it's so odd to see like people living normal life because like it's like you almost forget what that's like.
Yeah, I guess like if we do come back to like to the normal what we're used to, like that's gonna be weird too.
Mm-hmm.
We're not only we're going through this transition, we're gonna have to go through another one at some point.
Definitely.
That's gonna be weird.
It's gonna be weird. We're all gonna be like nervous. We're all gonna be nervous about it, but like in reality, we're gonna have nothing to be nervous about. Like by that time, but like it's human instinct by now to be nervous.
Yeah, I guess like to change the topic, I know in my interview, I don't know about your interviews, and I know Nicholas, you talked about this in your interview, but like with the election and everything, and how that went down, and like how we thought that was gonna be like the key to happiness, but just got really confusing, and like I don't know.
Yeah, I think happening with that's like, I mean, one side had more votes than the other, and it's like, now you have 73 million people who feel like, well, I just voted, and my voice doesn't matter now because the person I wanted didn't get elected, which is like, it's sad, like, seeing that amount of people not being able to like face reality, be like, wow, I lost, and they're coming up with like voter fraud and other stuff, but there's been no evidence with that.
Yeah.
But it's just like seeing people like going to rallies and doing all this stuff and being upset because it's like, I just voted this person I wanted, and a lot of people voted over what 50 million, 100. 150 million
I think
people
like
voted
the
this
most
election.
there ever has, like in like the
half
first
the
time
country
in like
voted.
20 something years, I think 26 years.
Yeah, like 150 million people voted. You know, it's gonna be upsetting not seeing the person you want. Like, I remember 4 years ago when Trump won, I was in Puerto Rico for my sister's wedding, and it was like, this is like back when he was saying all this stuff about Puerto Rico, like, oh, we should get rid of it, Puerto Rican, or dirty, all this stuff. And I was watching the election, and I went to bed, and Hillary Clinton was winning, as far as I saw. She was winning the election, and then I woke up, and Trump was already president, and it's like, it was like hard to face reality, but then everyone was like saying all this like Russian collusion stuff, and it's like,
Now it's like happening.
people are just gonna, it's happening again. People are just gonna be bitter that they lost.
Exactly. And you said you lived in like Philadelphia, like center Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Were there like those I've seen on the news like those parties they were having and everything? Did you see any of that?
Oh yeah. There's like everyone's just going out on the streets or celebrating. It's like, I mean, I've never seen that before, so I'm like,
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
I was thinking that's like the World Series, when
especially
Philadelphia
with
won the World
Corona.
Series, when they was acting like that.
I mean, most people wear masks too, and I was
Yeah.
like, actually surprised about that. I'm like, okay, go on, guys.
It reminded me, obviously, like we weren't alive for this, but it reminded me of like when, like we've learned about after World War II, and like it was like right after all the veterans came home.
Oh yeah.
Like celebration of
Yeah.
love and like all these like great things, and like that's like kind of what it was all about. Just stuff like this actually. Oh.
Especially, yeah, and that's gonna be history too. Like that's gonna be in the history books for sure. Yeah.
I think that a lot of people, after a lot of waves of emotion, especially after the last few months, just how everything was handled and how it was good for a lot of people were happy, like for the first time. Like I know, like I've like talked to people and they've said that, you know, for the first time they woke up and, you know, they weren't angry at the United States.
Yeah, because it was like everyone came together too.
Definitely was a big moment for the United States when like
So,
a lot more people around our age started voting for the first time. So it showed a
other
lot
things that we
that
were
people
talking
actually
about
wanted to
in
make a
our
change.
interviews, forms of support we received during coronavirus.
So for that one, the foreign support, that was my topic that I talked about. So for me personally, during Corona, in the quarantine, I got a lot of support from my brother, from my school, from like former alumni that went to my school, and like advisors that basically said like, let me know that if I ever needed something, that if I ever needed something, I could always go to them for help because they went through what I went through to a certain extent, and because my school is set up the way it is, everyone that goes there, it's basically like a family. So they always look out for each other. Like that's what you should do. That's what they did for us. As for Melissa, who I interviewed, she said she got a lot of support from her friends, her father, her mother, just like her parents in general. Like they understood that this was a strange time for them to be going through. So what they did for them was anything that any parent would do. And they tried to do whatever they could, like for the future, always looking out for them. Just understanding that because this is such a strange time we're going through, that doing the little things mean the most. Honestly, the most that they can give towards us.
Really, I feel like the only support, I don't know, the biggest support I had was technology. I don't know, and also, you know, because that's the only way you can communicate with people. Like if this was a time when we didn't have technology, like 100 years ago, like during the flu, the Spanish flu, like you couldn't communicate with anyone, like your loved ones, or everyone was just dropping like flies, and you might not even know it. So I don't know. I'm thankful for technology, actually. So
Yeah, I am thankful for technology. Just like, you know, I was talking to someone the other day, just like even talking to someone can, you know, make the day better. Like, yes, you can't see them in person and it sucks, but, you know, being able to talk to them, you know, they're there and like, you know, communicate with them is that it's very heartwarming and it's very, you know, reassuring that everything is going to be okay.
yeah, it's the art of conversation.
Definitely.
It just like, you know, it makes your day a little bit better. It makes it feel a little bit more productive as well. It makes it feel like you like are doing something, because it's better to do something than nothing.
Yeah.
All right, so getting into the conclusion and all we've talked about in all of our interviews and everything, what do you think this like main concluding like statement, like what do you have to say about everything we've talked about?
I after everything we've talked about, after everything we've been through, after everything we've learned, my takeaway from all of this is to, you know, make the most of every moment. Don't take anything for granted at all, and you know, just appreciate what you have, because we, you know, things were taken away from us, our everyday lives, that we never in a million years would have expected.
Right.
And so it just goes to show that literally anything can happen, and you know, just live your life, I guess.
Yeah, I think the most like the theme I've learned from this that I could take out is just to take it day by day, and to just like keep yourself motivated no matter how hard it is, and like knowing that there is someone you can always talk to. Like we said, like Westchester, you could always like talk to your professor if you need time for an assignment, or even just like a Zoom class meeting. Just seeing people, it makes it a little bit better, and
that's true.
It's not gonna last forever, so yeah.
I mean, during this time. Like we learned that it's hard to adjust. We're living in a new world. Having those people close to you, you gotta hold them, keep them close, try to talk to them. Because those are the only ones that you're gonna have at the end of the day now. Like especially now during quarantine, you're gonna lose a lot of your fake friends. You're gonna see who your real friends are, so the ones you can talk to regularly.
Yeah.
And you just gotta focus on keeping yourself happy. If it's engaging in a new hobby, I've been watching a lot of anime. There's something I've been up to, but it's if you go outside and go on a run, or lay on your grass, or watch the stars, something bird count. If you're doing something you're staying engaged, it's you're gonna get through this time. I mean, we all are. I believe we all can do it, but it's gonna be a little harder. But I know we got it.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that it's just finding happiness in a little bit of time that you spend with someone throughout the day, or just seeing happiness in the little things that throughout the day in general. Even just going outside and just being alive. That's something you should be happy about, because this pandemic took a lot from everybody, and just being able to wake up the next morning and breathe and being the same condition you were in yesterday, the day before, that's the best thing you can have, and that's what you got to hold most dearly, honestly, because that's what's going to be most important for you in the years to come. It's your health, and just knowing that you're healthy. That's the best thing that I get away. That's the best thing that I would truly take away from all of this. Just enjoying your health and enjoying the time you spend with other ones, your loved ones, friends, family, whoever it may be. Just cherishing the time that you spend with some other human being. Even as a pet, just spending time with something else. Just being a social creature is what makes life worth living, and being able to do that is the best part about it. Just cherishing those moments.